also going to do some repair work in the engine bay. You can see that I've ground out all of the small holes that were made for mounting electricity lines, fuel lines and everything. So I've ground them out and I'm going to fill these in from inside the engine bay and from inside the wheel wells. And then we have to repair the floor of the engine bay. This should be connected and a thing should be there, and it's broken along there and there. So we're going to mix up some polyester resin and we'll start restoring and filling all of these small holes. So I've done some repairs on the inside of the engine bay. I've started with repairing these holes for the quick releases for the engine cover, and there were some holes in there that shouldn't be here. I've already filled in all of the holes along the inner wings, which were used to mount quite a lot of things. So a couple of dozen of holes that are all fixed. I've started to repair the actual floor of the engine bay. So this section was missing in between my two fingers, so I've used a piece of foam to make a template from underneath, and I still need to trim it. I still need to repair the brake in here, but there's like a channel for the strengthening ribs of the gearbox, and I've made a repair piece for that by laying up some fiberglass over a steel tube. And I've already repaired this section, and of course some cracks around the edges and along there. So the hard thing about this is you don't know if you trimmed it far enough or if it all will fit until you put the chassis in and until you mount the engine inside of the chassis. So we'll do it as good as we can. I've tried to look up some pictures of other Series 1 Europas, and I found some very detailed pictures of the floor. However, the floor of the other Series 1 Europa was completely different to this one. So I've tried to take a look at it, but I can't really focus on that. So now I'll do some of the trimming and removing all of the foam pieces of the templates, and then we'll take a look at what we still need to do, and we'll repair the center section as well. You can see that I fixed some parts on the floor of the body already. So I fixed this missing section here, and I fixed the floor on here, and I've patched some small holes. There are a couple of things that I still need to do. One of them is to fix this tear in the floor. Now this isn't just connected, but there's a dip here in the floor to clear the strengthening ribs of the gearbox, which is placed here of course. And I've studied some photographs online of other Series 1 floors, but they're all a little bit different, so it's quite difficult to know how it should be repaired. This section in the rear, that's completely flat, should be flat, I'm quite sure of that. On this section there should be a little dip, and I can see a part of that here. Now this section is straight as it is, but there should be a little dip in the center as well, just to clear the gearbox, and it should start right on this section. It's quite difficult to tell how wide this should be, but I'm keeping it a little bit wider. I'm just making the dip. Normally it should be fine, if not I can still trim it back. To make these repairs a little bit easier, I made some repair sections using some 300 gram mat, laying over an aluminium tube to create this round section. The diameter is quite close to the dip that I need, so I can cut some repair sections out of this, and hopefully I'll be able to repair in those sections right there. And I'm going to cut a section out of here and fiberglass this in, So I'm gonna cut a hole here, fix this in place so I can have the dip as well. That's the theory. I made another one first, but this was a little bit too big in diameter for this section. I think that it will be a little bit too big for this section as well. So I'm going to go with this smaller section with just 4 layers of mat, which I can use as some templates to bond these in. So I'll start off with that. I need to do some small repairs. A crack here on the side that didn't quite work, so I have to redo this repair and then glossing this in, and then we can move on to the next section. I think this is the last piece of the floor that needs to be fixed. So now I've just mocked it up. I cut a small piece of the repair section and I hot glued it in place, and then I made a larger repair section and I taped it from underneath, and the little vertical section that you can see is some sticky back cardboard. So now I can mix up some resin and use some 300 gram mat just to bond it all in, and it will need some finishing afterwards, but as you can see I think it will work quite well. We're continuing with the fiberglass repairs on the rear of the car. I've already done some small repairs like filling in the holes on the rear for the fasteners of the engine cover. They were not original and different from side to side. So what we need to do now is we have to do some small repairs. There's a piece of this flange missing for mounting the rear taillights. Then there's a crack on this side, and on the other side is just the same. And there's a crack in the center, which means that it had a rear end collision which forced this inwards and cracked both corners. So we need to repair those. What we also need to do is we have to fix the flange for mounting the rear grille. There are a lot of holes in there and it's cracked in several places. Also, I'm going to remove the holes for mounting the rear bumper. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use a rear bumper or not. I might as well do, but I think I'll come up with a system for fixing it with magnets, so that I can run with or without rear bumper and don't have to have the holes in there if I want to remove the bumpers. I've done the first round of repairs on the rear of the car. So I filled in all of the holes for the bumper. I fixed the cracks on the lower part and the corners. I laid up some fiberglass on the lip on top, on the outside and on the inside, and I reinforced the lips on the grille surround on the inside. So now I can start to sand everything off and see if I've built up enough fiberglass. I probably need a second round of fiberglass to get everything right. This is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll recap all the work that we've done in this video in one of the later videos. For now, we're just going to go quickly over all of the fiberglass repairs because it's too much to go into detail. But you get the gist of it. So hopefully I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.